Hello again everybody and welcome back to Obsidian Dawn Studios. If you're new to the channel, here at Obsidian Dawn Studios, we dive into everything game design and Unreal Engine 5 related. If you missed it in our previous video, we went into detail about designing some static mesh crops and a growth mechanic for a farm sim game for the game jam that I and a few associates have been working on for the last few days. In that video, I showed some assets created by a fellow designer, Tianna, and I showed how we could use them to create different types of crops for our farm simulator. I then showed off the growth mechanic that we were using and how to implement and use an interact function to collect those crops. Today's video will follow similar logic, where I will be showing off some assets created by designer Tianna, and we will be creating locked plotted land for our crops to be grown on. The idea for this is that the player will only have access to one type of crop at the beginning of the game, and will later unlock other types of crops and their corresponding plots of land. That way, there's clear goals for the player and a visual cue for their progress in-game. In order to create this mechanic though, we are going to be creating a new blueprint with a collision field. We'll be creating a gate to keep the player out of the plot of land, and we will unlock that gate when the player has a corresponding key allowing them to start planting crops. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so in order to create the mechanic, we're going to want to set it up on a test level so that we can see what it does. I created this test level in my developer folder, and it showcases the same, it's actually a copy of the plotted land, the farmland, that Tianna has created for the farm level. So, if we go to start the game, you can see this fence has physical collision. The player cannot walk through it. So all we need to do is create a gate that will close up both of these entrances and only open when the player has access to it. So what we're going to do in order to do that, we're going to create a blueprint, and we're going to create an actor. We're going to name this as Fence Gate. Start, we're going to create a static mesh. We're going to call this door 1 because we're going to make this a double door system. Now on top of door 1, we are going to go into our content drawer. Under content, we actually have a set of fences in this folder. Alright, we have a set of fences in our content folder. I would have to find them. It looks like they are in simulated wood fence, and we're going to be using this simple tiling long A. I like this one because it's got the 2 posts, and this looks like a typical fence. It's made out of the same material as the fence in our level, so we're going to go ahead and use this. I also like that the pivot point is on this door, so we can use this pretty readily. I'm going to compile, save, and we're going to click on fence gate asset. We're going to add a box collision. Really, you can add any collision, but I'm using the box because it matches the grid pattern easier and I can see it. So now that we have that, that's at dead center. We can take door. We're going to make a copy of it. We're going to rotate it 180 degrees so that it is mirrored. Do that. Move it over, and we are going to line it up with the end of the other fence. That looks pretty good right there, but we also need to line it up this way. So we're going to bring it in just a little bit, and that should be good right there. Yeah, that looks decent. Now we have door 1, we have door 2. We're going to move them over, and we're going to center them so that they are directly over, or that opening is directly over the box collision. That way it opens immediately away from the player. Right about, maybe 5 points to the left. That looks good. Compile, save. Now we have this. Looks good. We're going to go into event graph, delete all of these. Actually, we're going to want event begin play because we're going to want to create a reference to the player. So we're going to go ahead and set up that function real quick. Under functions, we're going to hit this plus sign. Name this function as getPlayerReference or getPlayerRef. Off of the input, or off the output, we're going to do cast to whatever your character model is. I'm using third person, so it's going to be cast to third person BP character right here. Off object, we're going to do a get player, and you can do either character or pawn. I like to use pawn, that's just a preference of mine. Right click on as BP third person, promote it to a variable and name it as player reference. This is all the code we need in order to create our player reference. Now in our event graph, we're going to take our function, drag it onto event begin play, and now we have this variable set up immediately. We're going to take the two doors now. We're going to drag these into the map, and we're going to get this reference to them. We're going to do a set relative rotation. We're going to connect. No, we're not going to connect it. We're actually going to do set relative rotation for the other one because it will open in the opposite direction. There we go. And now, right click on box. We're going to get the event on component begin overlap. So whenever something overlaps, it will open the doors. We're going to set door 1 to 90 degrees because I believe that's how it's going to open away from the player. That's door 2. Door 1, if we rotate it away, -90. Okay. Well, it could go either way, and we can just change it. So let's set it to 90. The other side is going to be a little bit different because it's mirrored. So it starts at -180. If we open it in the same direction as the other one, it goes to -270. So we are going to compile, save, go to event. We're going to do 90. We're going to do -270. There we go. Compile, save. Go to the test level, and we're going to, oh, there's one thing I forgot to do. Our box collision needs to be sitting outside of the gate. Let's do this. Ding, ding. Now when the player walks into it, it will open. Play. I need to place it first. Set this here. Play. Walk into it. Boom. So it opened one of them, which means the other one's not set up, but that was a decent distance for it to open. Ah, there it is. So the other one wasn't set up. We're going to do this, connect into that. There we go. But what we're going to do, now that we know that this opens up in a decent direction, we're going to create a timeline. And what this will do is it will open the doors. It will open it with an animation, which we will set up real quick. We're going to have the animation take 1 second. We're going to create it on a float track with 2 points. We'll select those points, right click on them, hit auto to create a bell curve, and then we want to set the values. The first one will be set to 0, 0, 0 times 0 value, and that sets it at the beginning. The second one will be set to 1, 1, and will be set at the end of the bell curve. So this is the whole animation from start to finish. We're going to need to name this. We're going to rename it to alpha. Compile, save, back to the event graph, and now we have an alpha timeline here. So what we're going to want to do, come off of alpha, and we'll do a lerp rotator. This will change the rotation of an object over time. So we're going to plug this first one at 0, 0, we're going to take 90 and place it here. Plug it in to this. And we're going to take this, we'll copy it, and we'll take negative 270. But we also need to make sure we remember this does not start, door 2 does not start at 0, 0 like door 1 does. If we go back to our viewport, door 2 starts at negative 180. We need to keep that in mind when doing this. So we're going to set Z, the starting point, to negative 180. Now it will rotate 90 degrees in the opposite direction of door 1, which means it will open away from the player as well. Plug that in to new rotation, plug alpha into alpha, and we should be good to go. Compile, save, test, play. Player walks into it. The gate opens away from the player. Now there's a couple more things that need to be done in order to make this complete. We're going to have some animals walking around the farm, so we're going to want to make sure that only the player character will be able to activate this. So coming off of other actor on the event begin overlap, we're going to do an equals, and taking our player reference, we're going to connect it. This creates a Boolean check. Off of the Boolean, we'll do a branch. Bring that up. Connect input to output and true to play. Now, only the player will be able to activate this. If anything else walks into it, it will not open. So now we can test it. Make sure that it's still working correctly. Opens away. That's very good. There's one more thing that we need to do in this case, and what we're going to do, where we actually have a variable on our third person character, has key caret. This is a Boolean variable that I created to give to the player whenever they go to purchase the crop of land that this fence is going to be on. That way, the crop of land is going to be locked away until they have purchased the ability to plant these crops, and walking into it will open it up for them. So now that we have this, we can actually access this variable in our gate. And we do that by taking our player reference, calling the variable, which is has caret key card, and we are going to do another Boolean check. We'll do a branch. Drag these off to make a little bit of room. Drag the branch up here. And if true, it will play. So if the player has the key card, they'll be able to open the gate. And we can double check real quick. The standard default for a Boolean is always going to be false. I have this set to true. We can test to see if it is going to work right now. So hypothetically, the player has bought the ability to access carrot farms, walks into the gate, gate opens. But if we were to go in, change that to false, set, and try again, it shouldn't open this time. And that's how we can keep the player away from being able to plant anything without permission to do so. And we can do a similar mechanic as that Boolean in order to make it so the player needs seeds in order to plant a certain number of crops, but we can get into that at a later time. Instead, we're going to set this up so that the player can't get inside the plot of land right now. So this is all set. We can actually move that a little bit closer, get that lined up real good. That looks about even. That looks dead center to me. But it's a little bit big. We want it to be kind of lined up with these posts on the fence. So we're going to drop the size down to 0.8. And I actually like the way this looks with the gate a little bit shorter than the fence line. I think that'll work out quite good. Now, what we can do, we want to create the same thing on the other side, but I would like it if that door opened as well when this one does. And we can do that quite easily by taking 2 doors, duplicating them, taking door number 3. Oh, we're a little bit short. Let's go over here. We'll take door number 3 and we'll plug it into door 1's relative rotation. And we'll take door number 4 and plug that into door 2's relative rotation. Compile, save. And we're going to go back to the test level. Now we should have doors 3 and 4 here. And what we're going to do, we will rotate it. I believe this will be fine. We could actually have set this up so that it's grouped onto one object, but I could show that later. Instead, we'll just move it over, line it up, and push it a little bit inwards. There we go. Walk into it. It doesn't open because Boolean says we can't get in yet. Let's go into third person character. Keycard. Compile. Save. Play. And watch that back gate. Oh. That's a little bit different. It didn't open the way I thought it would, which means I need to rotate it. Or, I think what I can actually do is plug these into the opposites. So 3 to 2, 4 to 1. Compile, save. Now let's try it. Oh, that's close. That might actually be perfectly fine. We'll leave it there. My initial idea was to have it open inwards. I think the best way that we could do that, if we take 3 and 4, rotate them, never mind. Not from here. It wouldn't work from here. But anyways, now we have a plot of land, and we can actually place some crops here if we wanted. We could take our plot of land here and just set it up. Yada, yada, yada. Set all these. We could set it to carrot if we wanted, just to keep with the theme. Walk in, walk over to the crops, plant, plant, plant. And now we have a carrot farm. Ready to go at a moment's notice, easily replanted, access only if you have the crop purchased at the market, and we can set it up so that you have to purchase seeds in order to plant these later on. But for now, I think that concludes our build for an interactable fence that would keep the player out of the crop in order to prevent them from progressing too fast. Alright everybody, that concludes our build for a fenced-in gate to add to our farmland. In this video, we went over how to use timelines and collision boxes to animate a door to open when the player has a corresponding key to access the area they want to be in. Now that we have the gate in place, we can go ahead and make the code to check whether the player has seeds to plant and a key to access the gate itself. And then we can add a widget to show the player through text. But that's for the next video. Until then, if you guys are interested in our series, check out our previous video where we went into creating the crop mechanic. Check the link below in the bio to go there. If you guys want to follow along with these builds, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell if you want to be notified for our next video, where we dive into creating a market stall for the player where they can sell off crops and buy seeds. Until the next time, remember, go out, make an impact.